I'm about to make my way through Sam Raimi's Spider-Man and lay out the career details of every single actor in the feature. To answer the question, where do I know that person from? Coming up, Harry and Marv get arrested by an employee of Oscorp. Uncle Ben gets elected president twice, and J. Jonah Jameson performs a stage musical with Timon from The Lion King.
What are you talking about?
So, without further ado, suspect! Oh no, we're not doing a stupid comedic bit, are we? I got something that might change your mind. Yeah, they got me too. Raid Shadow Legends, the sponsor of today's video, is a massive role-playing game that's making waves on mobile. Tell us something we don't know. Okay, so there's over 600 champions to fight with, who all come from their own unique factions. My favourite of those being the High Elves, who have a cool backstory with their homeland of Aravia, going into all-out civil war. For the Lord of Darkness, Siroth is a cunning little piece of work, but their homeland survived and Aravia came back stronger than ever, which explains why I'm so drawn to Elhain over here, my go-to hero who I'm quick to level up above anyone else. She's just your wifey. Shut up. You are right, but shut up. And this month, Raid is on fire with an array of special events and activities. Watch out for Season 3 of Forge Pass for some real bang-up loot, including a limited edition artifact set. Raid is bringing out even more new champions with some sweet-looking skins for Madame Ceres. And if you play Raid already, you might be familiar with fan-favourite champion Death Knight. And ladies and gentlemen, he's getting legendary champion status. Ultimate Death Knight is sure to be a beast. There's no better time to get into Raid, and if you follow the link in the description, or scan the weird missing no thing up there, that's the QR code. Oh. You'll nab yourself unique bonuses worth $30. You'll get the epic champion Tyrell, 200,000 silver, 1 energy refill, 1 XP boost, and an ancient shard, so you can summon some badass champions the second you get in game. All this treasure will be waiting for you right here. Oh, and these rewards will only be available for the next 30 days and only for new players, so act fast. Thank you Raid for sponsoring this video. So here we go. This is every actor in Spider-Man and where you know them from. Begin.
That's me.
Hey, tell him to stop, please!
Okay, who better to start off with than Spidey himself? Peter Parker is played by the acrophobic and arachnophobic Tobey Maguire. Yeah, the guy they got to play Spider-Man is afraid of heights and spiders. Props to facing your demons head on, Tobey. Now, Maguire got his acting start as a kid. His first on-screen role was in The Wizard. You know, I love the power glove, it's so bad. The Wizard. Here he is right here.
You're gonna rip their gizzards out, man. Yeah, look, Dark Lips. Why don't you just make yourself useful and get me a cold drink?
And he went on to star in many TV shows, like Roseanne.
Hey, so you guys know what you want?
Barry does. But she's not on the menu.
And he was the lead in the short-lived sitcom Great Scott, which I don't believe had anything to do with Back to the Future.
If someone describes you as a tornado in the bedroom, is that a good thing or a bad thing?
It could mean you spin around a lot. Or leave people homeless. I mean, who wants that?
This was a weird show. And he appeared in many commercials too, like in this one for the Atari Lynx handheld.
Oh, yes! Oh, yes, yes! I'm in the chip! Oh, yes, yes!
His child roles are kind of weird actually, as he often seemed to play quite rebellious characters. So a nerdy, down on his luck guy seemed to have been a bit of a departure for him. Now, Maguire has done a million different other roles. He was once on Walker, Texas Ranger, acting with Chuck Norris.
Here you go.
How old are you, kid?
I'm old enough.
I don't think so.
He seems to get cast quite a bit in films about animals, like playing a jockey in Seabiscuit and voicing a beagle in Cats and Dogs.
Don't you want to do something exciting? Like be a police dog? No? What about one of those Russian space dogs, or maybe sample the great bones of Europe?
And you also might remember Maguire from films like The Great Gatsby, Pawn Sacrifice, and Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas.
Can you tell me that? Hey!
Thanks for the ride! I like you guys, really! Don't worry about me!
Wait a minute! Come back and have a beer!
And in Tropic Thunder, Spider-Man and Iron Man star in a fake movie trailer about two gay monks.
And to be condemned was to die.
What you betting this is one of the 14 million different realities that Doctor Strange saw and just never talked about it?
Thanks, Hot Mix.
Oh, and for anyone who's been subscribed to me for a while, do you remember in my Spider-Man 2 review when I made this joke?
Raindrops keep falling on my head.
Wait, it's a piano, now you're fucking dead. Yeah, well, I was an idiot, because I should have just used this clip from the details.
Stop the bus! He's been chasing us since Woodhaven Boulevard.
And now let's move on to MJ, who's brought to you by American actress Kirsten Dunst. Now, like Maguire, she too was a kid actor, but she got her start even earlier, doing commercials for things like board games, Crayola, and those god-awful baby dolls that you actually have to clean because they actually urinate. Oh, why? I mean, how much more disgusting could you get?
All clean. Looks like diaper rash.
Oh, what the fuck?
I'm gonna blow chunks. Guys!
Girls are disgusting. Well, it was only up from there, because Dunst got some really major gigs as a kid. She starred as Tom Hanks' daughter in The Bonfire of the Vanities.
But what's a bond?
A bond is a way of lending people money. Now, let's say that you want to build a road or a hospital, and you need a lot of money. Well, what you do is you issue a bond.
Do you build roads?
Well, no.
And here she is in an episode of Star Trek The Next Generation.
It's called a visor. It enables me to see.
Like my vocal enhancer. It helps me make sounds.
I see you've already met my star pupil.
And all of this was before she even got around to her most well-known kid roles, like Little Women, Interview with a Vampire, and of course, Jumanji.
It's not real, Peter. It's a hallucination.
Then she went on to have a thriving career as an adult, from movies and shows like Marie Antoinette and Fargo. And while filming for Fargo, Kirsten met her real-life future husband, Jesse Plemons, who you might know better from Breaking Bad.
It's too late to get the money back for the course. And you said Bud had to have it by Friday.
We'll figure it out. That's what people do.
Dunst also voice acted a few times, such as playing Kiki in the English dub of Kiki's Delivery Service.
Mom, it's the perfect midnight for me to leave home. And I heard on the radio that tonight there'll be a big full moon.
And her role in Bring It On marked the debut of her music career. She starred in many music videos with artists like R.E.M., Beastie Boys, and Savage Garden. And she's sung many times herself, like that scene in Spider-Man 3. That is really Dunst's voice you hear there.
I only know they tell me that love is grand.
And here's Kirsten in Akihabara, Tokyo, performing a cover of the Vapors song, Turning Japanese.
Turning Japanese, I think I'm turning Japanese, I really think so. Turning Japanese, I think I'm turning Japanese, I really think so.
It's my girlfriend.
Okay, notable background cameo here. You see this couple with the two kids? Well, that there is the brother of Sam Raimi, Ivan Raimi, with his real-life family. His wife Kyle, his daughter Sophie, and his son Max. Ivan Raimi works as an emergency medicine physician, but does occasionally contribute to the screenplay of his brother's films.
Don't even think about it.
So this girl is played by one Sally Levi. Levi is an actress but would go on to work as a set decorator on films like It Comes at Night and Yes God Yes. But as an actress, she made several appearances in shows like ER, playing a pregnant teenager that goes into a coma.
What's wrong?
BP's down to 60, pal.
Tell me what's wrong.
Are you
pain?
Pulse ox 90?
It's gradient down. Let's go. Hang on. Good. Step back.
Suddenly I don't feel so bad about her not giving up her seat, as she had reason to. Oh, and this is a more light-hearted role of hers in that 70s show.
I'm so glad I finally got to meet you because I've like always been afraid of you and I like to be scared.
Midtown High seniors. No wandering. Proceed direct. Knock it off.
So the teacher of Peter's class is played by Shan Omar, Huey. Huey only had a brief acting career from 1999 to 2002. His first acting gig was a small but recurring role in the American drama Felicity. For my fellow nerds, this is one of the shows that Amy Jo Johnson did after Power Rangers.
You're smart and beautiful. If Ben's turning you down, he's out of his mind. What's wrong with these people?
And Huey also had a small role in the Mel Gibson starring movie The Patriot.
All slaves of the American colonies who fight for the crown will be granted their freedom with our victory.
Sir, we're not slaves. We work this land. Freedmen.
Well, then you're freed men who will have the opportunity and the privilege of fighting in the king's army, aren't you?
Come on, people. Let's stay together. Proceed up the steps and into the building.
Okay, so here we have two actresses that play MJ's friends, Lindsay Thompson and January Pugh. Now, Thompson I couldn't find much about, but this is her in the VH1 show Free Radio.
I just want to let you know I love the show
Thank
so
you.
much, and you are so cute in person. Okay, bye.
But January Pugh I was able to find a bit more about. She had a couple of minor but notable acting roles. One was as a victim of a deadly virus in the TV show Numbers.
What happened? Baby, talk to me. Baby, talk to me.
Bet she was prepared for 2020 more than most were. But a role of hers you might remember more is in the first Fast and Furious movie. She was the girl that Monica promised Ja Rule if he won the drag race.
Get hurt too.
And Pugh is a racer herself. On foot, anyway. She runs many marathons and is now working today as a professional running coach.
Dad, these are public school kids. I'm not showing up for the field trip and the rolls.
Okay, moving on to James Franco, who plays Harry Osborne. Franco is very well known. You know him from films like 127 Hours, Rise of the Planet of the Apes, and for his many collaborations with Seth Rogen in films like This Is the End, The Interview, and Pineapple Express.
What you do is you light all three ends at the same time.
Really?
And then the smoke converges, creating a trifecta of joint smoking power.
He also won a Golden Globe 1 year prior to Spider-Man for his performance as James Dean in James Dean.
You keep me waiting hours preparing for some scene you never even get around to shooting. So I ain't working today. When you do it again, I'm gonna take 2 days, and then 3.
And many of you will remember Franco as Tommy Wiseau in The Disaster Artist, where he starred alongside his real-life brother, Dave.
Okay, I stop you. I stop everybody right there, okay? Nobody in Hollywood will give you water
That's
either,
not
okay?
true. Dude, we can't work like this.
Well, I'm not Santa Claus, all right? Maybe you go buy water for everybody, Greg.
And the fact that Franco previously played James Dean is kind of an odd fact to bring up for The Disaster Artist, as in the film, Tommy and Greg visit James Dean's crash site to pay their respects. So it's like Franco is paying respect to himself in a way. It'd be like if Indiana Jones paid his respects to Han Solo.
Woo! James Dean! Ah, we miss you, James! We're with you, brother, always!
But let's talk things you might not know about Franco. For example, the same year Spider-Man came out, Franco starred in a Nicolas Cage-directed feature. The film was called Sonny, and Franco plays a male prostitute in it. Oh, and Brenda Blethyn of Vera fame plays his mother.
I'm sorry, Mama. It's just... I learned there's more to life than hustling tricks, and I want to find something to do so I don't have to end up...
End up like what? So you don't have to end up like me? Is that what you're trying to say?
But in order to prepare for this role, Franco admitted that he shadowed a real-life male prostitute in a strip club, and then unbeknownst to this man, Franco watched him have sex. Yeah, apparently James Franco is a weird man, from how a company called Praxis once contacted him to submit conceptual pieces to their Museum of Non-Visible Art. Yeah, they're selling imaginary pieces of art that don't exist. And here's one Franco is selling, an imaginary short film called Red Leaves. It does not exist and they are charging actual money for it. It's like an NFT, but without the NFT. Do not get any ideas, internet. And for those who think this is a joke, this museum actually did sell one of their pieces once for $10,000. Oh, and Franco's weirdness is only exacerbated by the several sexual misconduct offenses he's been accused of over the years. In 2021, he actually settled a class action lawsuit for $2.2 million for having it off with several of his film students. Oh, and then there was that one time when he, as a 35-year-old, tried to get it on with someone aged 17.
What's wrong with you?
And yet this man is still beloved by many. Proof you can get away with a lot of shit, so as long as you're charismatic enough.
Harry tells me you're quite the science whiz. You know, I'm something of a scientist myself.
Okay, enter Willem Dafoe as Norman Osborn. I've no idea where to start, so I guess I'll go with Dafoe's first acting gig, which he got fired from. Yeah, this was in a film called Heaven's Gate, which was the next film Michael Cimino directed after The Deer Hunter. In order to get the role, Dafoe claimed he could speak Dutch. He didn't know a word. And Cimino only realized this after he had hired him. I doubt he was pleased. And then Dafoe made things worse by laughing at a joke when Cimino needed quiet on set. So he was like, okay Willem, you're done. Get. But despite being fired from the film, you can see Dafoe in the final cut, right here.
Speak English. He's hurt. I can see that.
But did this stop Dafoe? Hell no. For he really hit the big time in 1986, when he picked up an Oscar nomination for his performance in Platoon.
I'll haul it for you. But next time you check with me first, alright?
And then in 1988, well, if you've ever wanted to see the Green Goblin play Jesus, you're a weird fellow, but be sure to check out Martin Scorsese's The Last Temptation of Christ.
He's already here! I'm here! And I'm going to baptize everybody with fire!
It's certainly a version of Jesus you would expect the Green Goblin to play. Dafoe has also played other well-known figures over the years, like Vincent van Gogh in 2018's At Eternity's Gate.
And I thought she would know where Paul was, so I gave my ear to the girl at the bar, to Gabby. She was scared, all the blood. I think she thought I was going to kill her.
He is completely unrecognizable as the famed Nosferatu actor Max Schreck in Shadow of the Vampire.
Who is this woman?
This is Ellen, my wife.
She has a beautiful bosom.
Oh, jeez. Gustav, just snatch it back from him.
And he portrayed Italian director Pier Paolo Pasolini in Pasolini, which also starred Dafoe's real-life wife, Giada Colagrande.
You should read Shosha's new novel. Take it from my desk. It's a great novel.
And his other live-action roles vary wildly. From family comedies like Mr. Bean's Holiday to the outright disturbing Lars von Trier film Antichrist, which is a violently sexual shock of a film. We're talking full frontal nudity combined with a crap ton of gore. Not for the faint of heart. Though Dafoe in this film actually used a body double whenever there's a scene that shows off his little, Goblin Juniors. And this wasn't because Dafoe wasn't willing to go all out. No, it was per the request of the director. Because Dafoe apparently has a freakishly large pair of, pumpkin bombs, and it was thought it might distract audiences.
Hello, my dear.
Dafoe also has many voice roles where you might not have realized it was him, like Gil here in Finding Nemo.
You get yourself in there, you can get yourself out.
Gil.
I just want to see him do it, okay?
He's probably the best thing about that terrible live-action Death Note adaptation.
I think you might be capable of great things, but if you don't think you can handle it, that's fine. Just put the note somewhere, leave it alone for 7 days, and I'll find it a new home.
He's lent his likeness and voice to 2 different video games, once in Quantic Dreams Beyond Two Souls, which I reviewed myself actually many years back, and he plays a Bond villain in Everything or Nothing.
What did you do with the girl?
She's being taken care of.
Help! Get your hands off me!
Too bad, Mr. Bond. By winning that race, you lost your life and hers. Good night.
And he's cameoed in The Simpsons twice, once as this commander.
Most of the actual fighting will be done by small robots, and as you go forth today, remember always, your duty is clear, to build and maintain those robots.
And again as one of Bart's substitute teachers.
So, a comedian, are you?
I got a pretty solid 10 minutes.
Well, I could do 5 minutes on your pathetic vest and 5 minutes on your ugly buck teeth, and I've got a whole HBO specials worth on your fat mama.
I'm missing so much about Dafoe, but I gotta move on.
Next, we have the netweb spider, family Philistatidae, genus Cuculcania.
So the lab tour guide is played by Korean-American actress Una Damon. No relation to Matt, as far as I'm aware. Now, Damon has appeared in a ton of films and shows, from appearances on Curb Your Enthusiasm to roles in films like The Truman Show.
Okay. Listen, guys, I need to talk to guys in the ferry.
And this is Damon again in the monster film Deep Rising. She doesn't fare well in this one.
Leave him alone. Or what? Or his father will fire your father. What's Daddy gonna do? Sue me?
Okay, let's make our way through the 3 bullies here, starting with Flash, who's played by Joe Manganiello. Now, first off, a slight deviation. A common criticism of Spider-Man and many Hollywood movies is that the teenagers in the films all look 25. And yeah, Manganiello was about 25 when they filmed this. But in order for him to play the part of a bully, Manganiello would not have been able to pull that off when he was an actual teenager. Because as a teenager, he looked like this! What the hell? This kid would go on to marry Sofia Vergara. There is hope for you all. Anyway, Manganiello is very well known. My audience will probably know him best as Deathstroke in the DCEU, but his breakout and most well-known role is as Alcide in True Blood.
People always say follow your heart. What if your heart keeps telling you to do the same stupid shit over and over again?
He's also acted in shows like How I Met Your Mother. He actually had a Star Wars role once, voicing this bounty hunter in Star Wars Resistance.
I knew Norath would have a few friends.
Oh, friends? Friends? No. We're not friends. I mean, we've never even met him.
And no, you never will.
And he's made more movie appearances than I can count, from getting his kit off in Magic Mike to straight up playing himself in Pee-wee's Big Holiday.
Pleasure to meet you, John Manganiello.
Manganiello.
Sorry, trick here. One more time.
Manganiello. An actor.
And then we got this dude, American actor Jason Padgett. Padgett did a lot of acting on the small screen. Here he is in 24.
The longer you keep
Brett?
Shut up! Let's go!
And this is him in the Buffy spin-off Angel.
Oh, that's some pretty nice duds there, fella. What do you say, though, we see some of that cash got stowed in them silk pockets?
Oh, and before I move on, this guy who doesn't get a line is American actor Justin Neill. He didn't do anything of interest, but I bring him up because in 1988, he was entered into the International Modeling and Talent Association Convention, which is where a lot of big actors get some notoriety, especially if they win the event. It's where actors like Brandon Routh and Jessica Biel got their start. So how did Neill place in the event? Well, he came a respectable second. But do you know who beat him?
There was a convention out in LA, and I went to that convention,
Right.
and it was the first time out of Cedar Rapids, and there was a talent manager there, and he asked me if I wanted to become an actor.
Yeah, Elijah Wood pipped into the post, and while Wood went on to do Lord of the Rings, Neill only got very minor roles, and is now one of the guys behind a company called One-Off, a music-focused NFT platform. I'll let you judge this man's life decisions if you so desire.
We solved the horizon glide and the multi-G balance issues.
American actor Ron Perkins plays Norman's assistant, Dr. Mendel Stromm. Now, Perkins has had some roles you might remember. This is him in the Christopher Nolan movie, The Prestige.
Unexpected guests, not very polite. A lot of questions. First, I thought they might work for the government.
Huh?
Worse, they work for Thomas Edison.
You also might remember his small but recurring role as a doctor in House.
Dad show any symptoms of cortical disease? Wernicke's?
No, nothing. That's why we settled, because we couldn't find anything. The guy got over $1 million. Don't tell me he's complaining.
And he performed mocap once for a small role in the Rockstar game L.A. Noire.
Our chief chemist, Harold McClellan, was using this area to test the new process.
What exactly is this new process?
That's classified information, son.
And in the trial that went wrong, what happened? What were the side effects?
So General Slocum is played by the late American actor Stanley Anderson. Anderson was probably best known for his role in The Drew Carey Show, playing Drew Carey's father.
Sorry, Mom didn't get to come up with you from Florida for your Lifetime Achievement Award at the Lodge.
Well, you know, she's busy with her clubs, the women's groups.
Is Kevin McLeod at the Burt Reynolds Theater again?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And one Michael Bay must have looked up to this guy quite a bit, as he casted him as the President of the United States. Twice. First in The Rock.
We are at war with terror. This is the worst call I've ever had to make. Airstrike approved.
And then again in Armageddon.
The Bible calls this day Armageddon, the end of all things.
It's okay, if we put glasses on him this time, we can pass him off as a completely different actor. You also might remember Anderson from RoboCop 3.
You better take a real deep breath right now, Coons. Because if you don't think it's worth it, then you're nothing but excess baggage. Do you hear me?
And as the judge in the finale of Seinfeld.
I can think of nothing more fitting than for the four of you to spend a year removed from society so that you can contemplate the manner in which you have conducted yourselves. I know I will.
And the Lord said, let there be light. And voila, there is light.
So Uncle Ben is played by a man with a fascinating tale. Enter the late American actor Cliff Robertson. Now before I talk about Robertson's acting career, I think it's definitely worth noting his love of flying. Yeah, Cliff was an avid aviator, and he would have served in the United States Air Force, were it not for him being rejected for his lack of perfect 20/20 vision. Though Robertson got time to shine during the 1969 Civil War conflict in Nigeria and the 1978 Ethiopian famine, where he flew food and medical supplies to the affected areas. Robertson owned many aircraft, and one particular trip he made is definitely worth mentioning. The destination? New York City. The dates? Oh, yeah, he was flying his private Beechcraft Baron airplane on this day, and he was apparently directly above the World Trade Center when the first plane hit. Thankfully, not much more to say than that. Robertson was fine, and air traffic control simply ordered him to land right away. Okay, onto his acting career, and the highlight of that would be his performance in the 1968 drama Charlie.
He had an operation. When it was over, he was smarter. The doctors are ready to try that operation on a man. They're ready to choose someone now. That's why you had all those tests.
Well, they should have told me. I would have tried harder.
Do you like an operation like that?
Yeah.
For this, he picked up a win for Best Actor, though during the Oscar ceremony, he was filming in the Philippines, but good old Frank Sinatra accepted the award on his behalf.
He thanks the Academy, and I wish him the joyous moment of his life right now. Thank you.
Now, Robertson went on to portray some very famous men, such as Buzz Aldrin in the 1976 TV movie Return to Earth.
Would you do me a favor? Sure. I may not be back from the trip in time. If I'm not, I've got some notes that are very important. Would you read it to the committee? It's important.
And Henry Ford in 1987's Ford, the Man and the Machine.
Of course, you're entitled to a different opinion. You're also entitled to a different job.
And like Stanley Anderson, Robertson also played the United States President. Twice. Once in Escape from LA.
If you go into L.A., bring back the black box, and you will receive a full pardon for every immoral act you have ever committed in the United States.
And again in PT 109, where he portrayed JFK.
We're getting out of here one way or the other.
What about the natives?
If the natives don't do it, we'll do it another way, but we're getting out of here if we have to get in the water and drag this damned island back with us.
And two crazy facts about this. The man whose idea it was to cast Robertson as Kennedy was Kennedy himself. Yeah, he personally recommended that Cliff play him. That's an honor and a half, isn't it?
It was a great shock. I think it was one of the few mistakes he made in office.
But that decision was actually one of the last ones he made, because PT 109 was released in theaters the same year Kennedy was assassinated, 1963. And the Canadian release in particular was very awkwardly timed, as it hit theaters there the very same day JFK died.
Weird.
Oh, and before I move on, and this is an actor of sorts, I want to talk about Uncle Ben's car, which is an Oldsmobile Delta 88. Why do I bring it up? Well, that car belongs to Sam Raimi, and much like Bruce Campbell, it cameos in a bunch of Raimi's films, like here in The Evil Dead, briefly here in Darkman, and here again in Drag Me to Hell.
We've been down and out before, but somehow we survive.
Okay, moving on to Aunt May, who is played by English actress Rosemary Harris. Now, Harris is definitely at home on the stage, picking up 9 Tony Award nominations over her career and outright winning for her performance as Eleanor of Aquitaine in The Lion in Winter. Sadly, wasn't able to find video footage of this, so instead, here she is as Desdemona in a 1955 BBC TV production of Othello.
If I be left behind a moth of peace and he go to the war, the rights for which I love him are bereft me. And I, a heavy interim, shall support by his dear absence.
Now, on the small screen, Harris would probably choose her performance in the 1974 BBC serial Notorious Woman as her highlight, for she picked up an Emmy for it. Though this series has no streaming options and has never gotten a DVD release, so I sadly can't show you footage of it. All I found was the intro sequence. This serial was also one of Jeremy Irons' first performances too. So come on BBC, release this already so I can see how Aunt May fares up against Simon Gruber. But cut to 1994, where Harris was nominated for a Best Supporting Actress Oscar for her role in Tom and Viv, a movie about the early love life of T.S. Eliot. And take a look at who plays Eliot.
Before Vivian rushed you headlong into this, did she tell you anything? Nothing? Nothing at all?
Who'd have thought that 8 years later, this is how these two would meet again? And Harris is acting still, well into her 90s. She recently starred as Mrs. Higgins in a revival of My Fair Lady, and in 2022, she appeared in season 5 of the dark comedy Search Party.
Oh, it's just sweat. If you had peed yourself, you jolly well know it.
You're trash! You're always gonna be trash, just like her!
I have to go to school.
Stop it.
So the brief appearance from MJ's dad is brought to you by American actor Tim DeZarn. DeZarn only seems to do quite minor roles, but he's done a ton of them. He has appeared in shows like Prison Break, Quantum Leap, NYPD Blue, and has had several roles across many incarnations of Star Trek, including this episode where Picard gets the better of him. But you might recognize DeZarn in some feature films he's done. Here he is in Fight Club.
The father must have been you. Did you see where the fat's burned to the seat with the polyester shirt? Very modern art.
And this is him in Cabin in the Woods.
I think we got enough gas.
You got enough to get you there. Getting back, that's your concern.
They found his body this morning in the lab. He's been murdered, sir.
Okay, so Norman's secretary, Simpkins, is played by American actress KK Dodds. You might remember her from Prison Break.
The children don't know anything. I didn't want to scare them, so I never told them about you, so please, don't.
That is so perfect.
And she's appeared in many other shows and films too, like here she is arguing with Lucius Malfoy in Soldier.
Oh, hurry.
until they both get blown up. And here she is in CSI as one of the murderers.
There was blood everywhere.
Oh, and outside of acting, Dodds now has her own shoe brand. Head down to her store in Atwater Village, Los Angeles if you're in need of a pair. I wonder what movie she worked on inspired the name of this particular collection.
I love her.
Oh, and Bernard, Norman's butler, appears in this scene too. But he has a much bigger role in Spider-Man 3, so I'll cover him when I get around to that movie.
The human spider, that's it? That's the best you got?
Yeah.
Oh, that sucks.
Hail to the king, baby. Bruce Campbell, of course, plays the ring announcer. Campbell is known for his many collaborations with Sam Raimi, making cameos in Spider-Man 2 and 3 as well, and appearing as a pizza ball vendor in Doctor Strange, Multiverse of Madness.
Why don't you take some mustard, huh?
But of course, his claim to fame is as the one and only Ash Williams in Sam Raimi's Evil Dead franchise. But Bruce has done so much more. From his role as the King of Thieves, Autolycus, in Hercules and Xena.
You're only making more trouble for yourself.
If I didn't like trouble, I would have gone into a different line of work.
He played fan-favourite characters in many TV series, such as Sam Axe in Burn Notice, and the titular character in The Adventures of Briscoe County Jr.
You're not quite what I expected, Mr. County.
Well, expectations lead to disappointment, Socrates. That's why I try not to have any.
He played a bizarro version of Elvis Presley once in the comedy horror Bubba Hotep.
Come and get it, you undead sack of shit.
And he's done many voice roles. Here he is in Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs.
I want to be big. I want people to look at me and say, that is one big mayor.
This is him in Cars 2.
Hey, what's so funny?
Well, you know, I was just wearing a disguise. You guys are stuck looking like that.
Also, did you know Bruce Campbell once played a Power Ranger? Well, kind of. He did so in this sketch in Robot Chicken, but his voice seems to have been pitched up for some reason. I don't know why.
The Mighty Morphin Power Rangers offer great health insurance, but even a ranger can get the flu and call in sick.
Oh, and Bruce Campbell is, weirdly enough, the third actor in this movie to have twice portrayed a US president. He provides the voice for Richard Nixon in the 2021 movie 18 and a Half.
Now, Al, I can't imagine this will sound good to women voters in Middle America, kidnapping my own campaign chairman's wife.
You know, at least Mitchell's not your attorney general anymore.
And here he is as Ronald Reagan in Fargo.
We who are privileged to be Americans have had a rendezvous with destiny since the moment in 1630 when John Winthrop, standing on the deck of the tiny Arbella off the coast of Massachusetts, told that little band of pilgrims, "We shall be as a city upon a hill."
Also, random tidbit, Bruce Campbell is apparently an ordained minister. In other words, he can officiate weddings and marry people. He doesn't offer this as a service, but Bruce, I'm just saying, I think you'd make him in. Okay, feeling a little out of my league here as I don't know a thing about wrestling, but I'm sure many of you are very familiar with Macho Man Randy Savage, one of the most legendary figures in the WWF.
They can't handle the Macho Man Randy Savage, the cream of the crop. Nobody does it better.
But did you know that Macho Man's first love was actually baseball? Yeah, this is when he went by the name Randy Poffo, and he played 289 games in 4 seasons of the minor league, but a shoulder injury meant he had to learn how to pitch in his non-dominant hand, and thus he never was quite good enough to hit the big leagues. Speaking of injuries, did you know that he actually sustained one while filming this scene in Spider-Man? And the shot he gets injured in is in the movie. It's this bit. Yeah, Randy refused using a double for that stunt, and that decision ended up taking a toll on his neck, as you can clearly see, and he had to go through hours of therapy to recover. So, did Randy Savage do any other acting? Well, yeah. He cameoed with Hulk Hogan in an episode of Baywatch.
Hey, Hulkster, what's the deal, brother? Talk to me. It's not like you to leave me hanging and just checking out the babes and just leaving me out there.
He did some voice roles too, like here in Dexter's Laboratory.
Can one of you quench my thirst for the divine conflict, the supreme struggle? Or will your planet be doomed to the same fate that has befallen so many?
And here in Disney's Bolt.
What?
Where's Calico?
I'm not talking to you. Bolivia! Bolivia! Calico's in Bolivia! Near Lake Rogaguado!
Oh, and if you've ever wanted to see Macho Man versus Chuck Norris, check out Season 8, Episode 9 of Walker, Texas Ranger. Okay, if I make my way through every actor in this movie in one video, then things will get a bit unwieldy in the video length department. So I'm going to split this episode into 3 parts. So stay tuned for part 2, which is coming soon, or if the video is up already, it'll be on the screen somewhere. Till next time.